The Varkoth Armada had made a grave mistake. Charlotte stood on the bridge of the UESS Retribution, her hands clasped behind her back as she watched the holographic display shimmer with tactical data. The deep space outpost on Kepler 442b had fallen silent 3 days ago. 217 souls, scientists, families, children, had simply stopped transmitting. When the reconnaissance drones finally pierced through the jamming fields, they found only ash and twisted metal. Commander Chen, we're receiving confirmation from Earth Command. Jack reported from the communications station, his jaw tight with barely contained fury. Operation Reckoning is authorized, no restrictions. Charlotte turned to face her crew. Every face on that bridge wore the same expression, a cold, calculated rage that only humanity could perfect. They had learned long ago that mercy was a luxury reserved for those who understood its value. "All hands, battle stations," she announced, her voice carrying through every corridor of the massive dreadnought. "Today we remind the galaxy why you don't touch what belongs to Earth." The Varkoth had been a regional power for 3 centuries, their reptilian forms and superior numbers making them confident, arrogant even. They had watched humanity spread through the stars for 50 years, dismissing the pink-skinned mammals as weak, divided, and inefficient. The attack on Kepler 442b was meant to be a message, a warning to stay out of Varkoth space. They had no idea what they'd unleashed. Jack pulled up the star charts, highlighting the Varkoth home system of Drakthor. Fleets assembled, Commander. 47 capital ships, 300 support vessels, and the Hammer of Sol. The Hammer of Sol. Even speaking its name sent a chill through the bridge. It was humanity's answer to extinction-level threats, a weapon so devastating that its very existence had been kept secret from the Galactic Council. Until now. "Jump in 30 seconds, Charlotte ordered, watching the countdown timer. "Remember your training. Remember, Kepler, no mercy, no hesitation." The universe folded. When the human fleet materialized at the edge of the Drakthor system, the Varkoth defenders scrambled. Their early warning systems had detected the massive gravitational distortions, but nothing could have prepared them for the sheer scale of Earth's response. "They're launching their defense fleet," Jack reported, fingers dancing across his console. 200 ships, maybe more. They're grouping around their homeworld. Charlotte smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Good. Let them watch." The Varkoth opened fire first, their plasma cannons painting space with streams of superheated death. Human shields flared and held. The return volley was surgical, precise. Each human railgun slug traveled at a fraction of light speed. Each missile carried enough antimatter to vaporize a city block. The battle lasted 18 minutes. The Varkoth defense fleet ceased to exist in that time. Their ships torn apart by weapons that shouldn't have been possible. Human warfare doctrine had evolved beyond the primitive slugfests that other species engaged in. They had studied every conflict in their bloody history, distilled every lesson, and emerged with a lethality that terrified the galaxy. "Clear the firing solution," Charlotte commanded, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what came next. "Bring the hammer online." Jack's hands hesitated for just a moment over the controls. "Commander, there are 4 billion Varkoth on that planet. Civilians, children." "They didn't spare ours," Charlotte interrupted, her eyes fixed on the green-brown planet floating in the holographic display. "Earth Command's orders are clear. Total strategic elimination. This isn't just about revenge, Jack. It's about ensuring no one ever makes this mistake again." Jack closed his eyes briefly, then activated the sequence. Hammer of Sol charging. 90 seconds to full power. The Hammer of Sol was humanity's darkest achievement, a directed stellar manipulator that could cause a star to eject a focused coronal mass directly at a target. The sun of Drakthor, a stable yellow star much like Earth's own soul, began to respond to the hammer's gravitational manipulation. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," the communications officer reported. "Begging for negotiations, offering surrender." "Silence their transmissions," Charlotte ordered coldly. "Let them broadcast to their people. Let them know who's responsible for what comes next." The Varkoth civilians watched their sky turn crimson, Emergency broadcasts filled their networks, but there was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The entire species gathered, staring upward at the stellar fury bearing down on them. "Hammer at full power," Jack announced. "Firing solution locked." Charlotte took a deep breath. History would judge this moment, she knew. Humans would debate it for centuries, question whether they had become the monsters they'd always feared. But right now, in this moment, she thought only of the 217 voices that would never speak again. Fire. The star erupted. A tongue of nuclear fire, larger than gas giants, roared across space at an appreciable fraction of light speed. It took 4 hours to reach Drakthor. The Varkoth spent those hours in prayer, in panic, in desperate attempts to flee that would prove futile. When the stellar fire struck, Drakthor's atmosphere ignited. The oceans boiled away in seconds. The crust itself began to melt, cities and monuments and the accumulated history of a species turning to vapor. In less than an hour, the planet was a smoldering cinder, its surface temperature hot enough to glow visible across star systems. The human fleet remained in position, ensuring the job was complete, broadcasting the footage on every galactic channel. Charlotte watched it all with dry eyes. Send the message to the Galactic Council. Let them know that Earth's protection extends to every human, everywhere. Attack one of us and we will respond with absolute total extinction. Jack transmitted the message, then turned to his commander. Was it worth it? Charlotte finally allowed herself to feel the weight of what they'd done. 4 billion lives erased in nuclear fire, a world reduced to ash. But she thought of the children on Kepler 442b who never got to grow up, of the scientists who dedicated their lives to peace and discovery. "Ask me in 100 years," she said quietly. "When no one has dared to touch another human outpost, when our children sleep safely under alien skies because the galaxy remembers this day." The Retribution turned and jumped, leaving behind a graveyard of a solar system. Earth had answered, and the galaxy would never forget.